Hey guys, what's up? I'm trying to film this for the third time. Don't mind everything here. This is literally like temporary because I wanted to show you guys my eyeshadow palette collection that I have deemed these eyeshadows for YouTube's use only. So I only use these when I'm filming videos for YouTube or when I'm doing my makeup and I know I'm going to be filming videos. So that's what these are. I want to go ahead and just do my third declutter of it because there is one eyeshadow palette in here that I just don't like. So I thought it'd be really cool to show you guys. Here, this is where I keep all of them. I need a bigger one, so I need to get one that's this size and like stack it on top of this. But because I'm getting more eyeshadows. I'm so sorry. I have you guys like sitting. I have this sitting on a box. I need to get more eyeshadows. But anyways, let's open the first drawer so I can show you guys everything. Okay, I was going to swatch everything for you guys, but then like I decided not to because I actually have another swatch video I have to film. So this is everything that I have in this drawer. I'm going to try and reorganize it so I can fit more because Mama needs more eyeshadows like always. But anyways, the first palette I have is this Hard Candy and Marilyn Monroe palette. This isn't the best, but it isn't the worst either. I don't use these for the face. I only use these for my eyes. Like I said, not the best, definitely not the worst. Next one is this custom Jeffree Star 9 pan. This is a custom palette, so if you have this, yours is probably looking different, but this is just how I have mine organized. Love it. I love it, love it, love it. This is something I probably won't declutter because it's like this is a custom palette that I made. I could just rearrange the shades. I think I'm going to get another ColourPop. It's like XU palette. Like bring your own palette or something like that, like where you get a discount, you get the palette in the bundle with all the eyeshadows. I think I'm going to do another one of those. This is my Jeffree Star Mini Blood Sugar palette. One of my absolute favorite palettes of all time. I like it. This is a palette I can see myself decluttering, and it is the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Star Ranch palette. And the reason is that the only shade in here that I love is this shade called Yak Farm, and he doesn't have it in a single. He has all of these shades in a single, so if you only like a couple of these shades, just get the single instead of getting this whole palette. So I definitely can see myself decluttering it after I get that single. Okay, next is my custom Jeffree Star 28 pan palette. I don't have this completely full. I'm missing a couple shadows because I haven't gotten them all yet, but I love that big mirror. I love this. I have the same feelings with this one that I do about the 9 pan. If I didn't like this, I'd just reorganize the shades. This kind of makes sense. This is the Jeffree Star and Shane Mini Controversy palette. This is the original one. Not my favorite color story. Honestly, this is one of the eyeshadow palettes with the Star Ranch one that just doesn't make me feel inspired and creative when it comes to makeup, and I like to feel inspired and creative. This is the LA Colors Peach Fizz palette. I decluttered the Berry Kiss palette, which is the sister palette to this, in my first ever declutter. I'm on my third declutter and this is still going strong, so that should tell you how much I like this one. I did just do a comparison video on it that should already be up on my channel before this goes up. I have a lot of palettes that have this color story is what I have found out, so this is definitely a palette that is going to get decluttered in the future. Just at this moment, it's not the one I'm decluttering for this declutter. The Jeffree Star Mini Orgy palette. I don't think he makes this anymore. It's an all shimmer palette. I don't really like all shimmer palettes, to be completely honest. I love using these three shades on my cheekbones though. They're so gorgeous. Even though I don't like all shimmer palettes, I can't see myself parting ways with this one anytime soon. Moving on to the second drawer because I don't think I can fit anything else in the top drawer. This is the Jeffree Star Mini Breaker palette. This is one of my colorful palettes that I absolutely love. I have this in my 250 subscriber giveaway, which if at the time I'm not at 250 yet, but if I am when this goes up, then the next giveaway is 300 subscribers. You guys are really going to want to be in on that because I'm doing makeup, skincare, hair care, kids stuff, everything, clothes, whatever. Like, I'm giving away a lot of stuff. And it'll only take 50 more subscribers to get to it. This is the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Weirdo palette. I love this palette, honestly, because as weird as the color story might look, I love the fact that it is so simply laid out for beginners, because this is like your nice matte gray kind of smoky eyes. This is where you can go deep into smoky eyes. And if you're more into warm tones or pink tones, then you have this too that you can work into it. So I love it. I really love it. I talked about it a little bit, but this is the Jeffree Star Cosmetics and Shane Dawson Emerald Edition palette. I think Jeffree actually changed the formula, and I think it's actually better than what it used to be. Because if you don't know, Jeffree used to have a pretty intense J-star imprint in his little eyeshadows, but in the newer palettes, they're not as deeply pressed. They kind of like, after a few uses, kind of it starts to wipe away and look like a regular shadow. And I never had that happen with my other shadows before from him, so I think that he did change the formula, and his old formula was good, but I think this one is a little bit more creamier. If he did, no tea, no shade, it's still really good. Next is the Rare Beauty Magnetic Spirit palette. So this is an all shimmer palette, and I have to say, I love this shade, I love this purple shade, I love this shade, and I do use this for the brow bone and inner corner sometimes, but I don't really like all shimmer palettes. I got this on sale, and I don't think I would have picked it up had I known, even though it was on sale, had I known it was an all shimmer palette. Okay, next is the original Kylie Cosmetics Bronze palette. So I know she has reformulated this like 4 times now, so I need to get rid of this. This has such a deep connection to my emotional connection to my sister. That's why I haven't been able to declutter it. It also has a very similar color story to that LA Colors Peach Fizz palette, which is where we're going to start getting into the I could get rid of that and get rid of this and get rid of a couple other palettes that you'll see later. This is the Laura Lee Los Angeles Sleigh Bell palette. Mine is a little broken. As you can see, that green shade is just a little broken. I don't think that there is a decent amount of mattes and shimmers. It's a 6-pan palette and it's only got 2 mattes, 4 shimmers. The shimmers are gorgeous. I wish that it had more mattes in it. That's always been my problem with palettes, is that there's not a cohesive of shimmer and mattes. And this is one of those, but I love this palette so much and you can't get it anymore, and that green shade is gorgeous. Okay, so this is the Boss Babe palette from Laura Lee Los Angeles. This is another palette you can't get anymore. I have Party Animal somewhere, but I can't find it. When I find it, I will bring it in my YouTube collection. I need to check the makeup chest. I think that is where it's at. So I need to do that. This also has a very warm, neutral color story like the LA Colors Peach Fizz palette. I definitely could get rid of that one and the Kylie one and keep this one, but I only declutter 1 palette from my collection each time I do this declutter, because I bring in so many palettes, and those aren't it. Jackson's just a-laughing. This is the Dominique Cosmetics Unconditional palette. I love this. This is definitely one of my top palettes. It's never, ever leaving me. For reference, that is one of the only palettes I will ever repurchase. This is the She Glam Blitzless palette. It's what really got me into trying out She Glam. Now I do a Shein order every month. Did you know they have toddler clothes there? Get my Kaiba clothes. But anyways, this is another palette that is not cohesive. It has way too many shimmers for what it is. It's got only, like, really it only has 2 true mattes. The other ones are kind of satin and glittery. These 2 are kind of satin and glittery mattes. The rest are all shimmers. This shade is super gorgeous. I have not had the chance to use it too much, but also, look at the packaging. I am in I am in the third drawer now, but I'm putting some in the second drawer. Anyways, I got this palette. This was the first palette I picked up this year, and it's the Anastasia Soft Glam 2 palette. So I actually own 3 Anastasia palettes. I'm trying out the Novu palette I got at the end of last month. This is definitely my least liked. Kai is in here sleeping, so I closed the door. I gave Jackson a toy, so if you see my eye like drifting to my phone, it's because I put the monitor on Jackson so I can keep an eye on him from in here. Alright, next is the e.l.f. Cookies and Dreams palette. So this has such a crazy story. I did not think I was going to pick this palette up, but then I'm such a makeup addict and a shopping addict. I saw it in the store and I was picking up some of the other Cookies and Dreams collection from e.l.f. And I saw it in the store and I was like, well, I might as well get it and use it a couple times and just declutter it. And it's still going strong. Alright, moving on. This is my Natasha Denona Star palette, one of my favorite palettes. I always reach for this in my off time. I just love it so much. And you can see it is very well loved. I am excited to see that Natasha did not raise the price of her bigger palettes, that she only raised the price of her mini palette, so that's good. Also, at the time I'm filming this, Charlotte Tilbury is doing up to 30% off sale, so I think I'm going to order a couple more of these palettes, the Instant Eyes palettes, because she has 3 more, and I actually prefer this formula, over the quads. It decluttered every quad I've gotten from her. as bad as that sounds. But anyways, this is the Instant Eyes Pillow Talk palette. I have fallen in love with it, and it makes me want to get the other bigger palettes. I believe there's a Starry Eyes, a Bejeweled Eyes, and a Hypnotized Eyes, I think. It's like $225 worth of makeup in my cart just at Charlotte Tilbury, and I'm getting free gifts as well. Okay, next is the Pat McGrath Labs Bridgerton 1 palette. This is the Diamond of the First Water palette. I don't think you can get this anymore, so if you like it, I hope you got it. This will never, ever, 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 ever be decluttered from my collection. It is super duper gorgeous. I love it, and since I can't get it anymore. And I mean, look at this packaging. I like the packaging on this one better than the second one. I just like this baby blue. I picked up the Juvia's Place Warrior 2 palette earlier this year, and I'm very happy I got it because I do like Juvia's formula. I fell in love so much with this palette that I actually picked up the Garden of Juvia palette when it came out. I am waiting for that one to get here, but I'm excited for that because if you don't know, I'm filming this early August of 2022. So I got the Garden of Juvia palette in my Ulta order for August, so if you're curious about what else I got, just check out my August monthly haul. I do them every single month. Okay, next is the Anastasia Primrose palette. This is my number 2 palette, I think, because I think I like Novu a little bit better than this one. I haven't decided yet. But this is still a really, really good palette. I used to think this was a blush and bronzer, but it's literally just 2 giant extra large shadows. I would have liked this palette a little bit better had they chopped that in half and gave me 2 more shadows and the placement be a little bit different, but you know, it is what it is. I'm watching Jackson laugh and swing. Anyways, this is the ColourPop Aha Honey palette. So I actually like this palette a lot more than when I first got it. And this is an all yellow palette, and I actually don't have many yellows in my collection, but everybody seems to like yellow, so I was like, I want to be on that train. So I picked this up because it wasn't that expensive, and I know I like ColourPop's formula. It's a little inconsistent sometimes, but I know I like ColourPop's formula. So I grabbed this, and I hated it when I first got it. I was like, man, now I know why I don't have yellow shadows in my collections, because I don't like them on me. I can use this, it's just I have to use it in conjunction with a couple other palettes, and I love the looks I create. If you're curious about it, I have been posting looks on my Instagram, which is just Kira Boo Bear, the same as my YouTube handle, and I will tag the palettes that I am using on my eyes, because part of my 3rd declutter series is I want to test out how long these eyeshadow palettes last on my eyes. This is the Natasha Denona Glam Face Light palette. I've talked about this quite a bit. I think that this is such a great value for what you're getting, because you're getting a mini palette, which is now $27, and you're getting a cream blush and a highlighter. This, I believe, is a new formula for her. It's not super duper blinding, but I do like the cream blush. I'm getting more into cream products lately. I am a dry skin gal, so that's not going to be very, very surprising. And I like the tone of these eyeshadows, if I'm being honest. Definitely one of my favorite palettes of this past year, and it's definitely worth the money for the products you are getting. Okay, so this is a palette I want to declutter, but I'm not decluttering it now because, like I said, I only do 1 palette every declutter from this collection, because this is my YouTube collection. And there's a palette I hate more than this. This is the Profusion Cosmetics Desert Sage palette. I just don't like the size, I don't like the eyeshadows, I don't like that there aren't names on the palette. And I don't really enjoy the quality of these shadows, if I'm being completely honest. I don't know, I fell for the packaging, and then I started actually using the palette, and it's just not me. I kind of will sometimes feel overwhelmed by this palette, this color story, if I'm being honest. There are a couple big palettes that do make me feel overwhelmed and not creative, but I am working on it because, like I said, this is going to be a palette I am going to declutter because I just don't want it, but not right now. Palette that you will have to tear from my cold dead hands, and this is the Pat McGrath Mothership 1 Subliminal palette. It's my favorite Mothership. It's cool tones, it's gorgeous, the artwork on here, like, she is God. Holy hell. This is the Pat McGrath Bridgerton 2 palette. This is the Belle of the Ball palette. It looks like this. I believe you can still get this. I don't think you can get it at Sephora anymore, but I do think you can still get it on her website. Such a good palette if you like Bridgerton. I definitely recommend it. ColourPop's That's Taupe palette. I lusted after this for so long and I finally got it. It is a cool tone palette. Like I said, sometimes with ColourPop I find that they are pretty inconsistent. We'll talk about that with the next couple palettes, but this is a really good palette. I definitely think between this and Stone Cold Fox, depending on your preference. If you like cool tones, maybe you want more cool tone options than this, but this would be a really good everyday palette for somebody who loves cool tones. I do actually own the Stone Cold Fox palette, and it is in my everyday collection because I use it for an everyday basis, and that is why that taupe is in this collection, because I don't need both. This is the Clearly in Love palette from the Extra Celestial collection from ColourPop. I was so excited about these, but I hate these. These are definitely palettes that will get decluttered eventually. They're just kind of pastel-y. The pigmentation just really isn't there. I have not liked a single look I have done with these. I just feel that way about the clear packaging from ColourPop, is that I don't really tend to like the formula in the clear packaging. This is the Clear the Air one, this is the orange one, but does that stop me from getting more? No. I do a ColourPop order every month, and guess what I got in this month's ColourPop order? The What the Shell Will the Opal of My Eye collection, which has 2 eyeshadow palettes in this clear packaging that I know I don't like, but I got it anyway, because I'm stupid and I waste money. Okay, this is the Kosas Clear palette. This is the purple one. If you can't see, my shade popped out, so mine is broken, so this one's probably going to be the one that gets decluttered first. So sad. I usually just pop it back in. I don't really care. It hasn't broken yet, which I think I'm knocking on wood saying that, but it hasn't broken yet. This is another palette you will have to pry from my cold dead hands. This is the Mothership 2 Sublime palette. I got this on sale. I think I got it for like 90 bucks. Really pretty. Pat McGrath always is having sales, so if you really want a Mothership, wait for a sale. I think I've gotten all my Motherships except for the first one on sale. This is definitely a palette I am going to declutter eventually. It's the Pat McGrath Baby Mothership in Rose Decadence. It's just, I haven't had the greatest experience with this. It's not my favorite palette. This is another palette I can see myself decluttering, and it is the Natasha Denona Glam Face Dark palette. If you don't know, I love the light. I got this one because I saw Tati use it, and she said it was great for smoky eyes. I hate it. This shade had an overspray, and now it's just super duper ugly. Mattes are beautiful and blendable. This is a good shade. It's just this shade really has put me in the side of not liking this palette, but I will actually keep giving this a try because it is Natasha Denona, and that's my second favorite brand. Next is the ColourPop Going Coconuts palette. It is a neutral palette for sure, but if you have the Going Coconutty little quad, you don't need this because those shades are in here. It's here, and I believe it's this one, or it could be this one. But it's one of these shimmer shades. That's there, that is there, and that is in that palette. They're just renamed. That is a problem I think ColourPop has a problem with, is reusing shades and naming them something else. So here is the palette I am decluttering, and it is the LA Colors Day to Night palette in the shade Sunset. I can't remember where I got this, or how I got this. I didn't buy it. Someone bought it for me. I think my brother bought it for me. I just, like, this is, like, every time I look at it, I'm like, you don't belong in this collection. Go away. So, that is why, and I just, like, I keep looking over here, and I was like, and I just would not get happy to do my makeup because I knew this, I legit knew this palette was in my collection, so that's why I didn't like it. So, I'm kind of like, that's why I decided to film this, is so I could get rid of this palette, and I'm not going to do another declutter of the eyeshadows until my next declutter. This is the Makeup Revolution Ultimate Nudes palette in Light. I don't really like this. I do find that I have to work very hard with this palette to get it to work. However, I'm going to buy the medium and the dark one just to see if it is the same, because I like to waste money on makeup. I got this on sale. This is the Secret Admirer palette. I just love the unicorn because it's supposed to resemble like a love letter. Look at how cute this is. This is what I have on my eyes with conjunction with another palette. If you can guess it down below, I will enter you 3 times into my next giveaway if you can guess what other palette I have on down below. But this is so cute, so gorgeous. I love the heart shapes. I think they should do the heart-shaped eyeshadows more often. So cute. Okay, so I have 3 of these. The Peaceful Peony one is actually in my makeup kit for me to use for tomorrow's videos, so we're just going to skip that because it's not going to get decluttered, obviously. I picked out the one I'm decluttering. This is the Pretty Poppy palette from Profusion. These are so nice. I just stabbed one of the shades as it fell. The glitter in here is amazing. Seriously, you guys, it's so good. I'm actually tempted to put these in my 5 pans. So when I reorganize this, let me know what you guys think about that. Okay, here is the Terrific Tulip one. This is the other one that I have. Gorgeous shade of purple, my favorite shade of purple. Good quality. It's just really good. I like these ones better than the bigger Profusion palettes. I definitely think that those can be hit or miss. I currently use the Profusion Mattes palette. It's a big palette. So good. Definitely a great conjunction palette. So I'm in the bottom drawer, but I still have room in the 3rd drawer, so I'm going to try and take advantage of that. Okay, I'm not going to have room much longer. This is the Subversive palette. This is the 3rd Mothership, another one that you will have to pry from my cold dead hands because this is $129. I think I paid like $1 something for this. I don't think I paid the full price because I'm pretty sure I got it during one of the summer VIBs, or not, one of the summer like sales. Such a good, gorgeous palette though. Okay, this is the She Lamb Afterglow palette. So gorgeous. It's a dupe for Natasha Denona's Gold palette. So super duper beautiful. I absolutely love it. This is the She Lamb Glitz Blizz palette in Brick Lane. It is a dupe for Natasha Denona's Metropolis palette. It's so gorgeous. I'm picking up the Glitz Blizz palette in Ecstasy this month, so if you're curious about that, check it out. I know it's a dupe for one of Huda Beauty's palettes. I can't remember which one though. I don't have a lot of Huda Beauty palettes, I'm not gonna lie. This is the She Lamb Adventurous Aries palette. I am gonna do an Aries makeup tutorial centered around this palette. Look at how gorgeous. I am an Aries also, in case you guys are curious. Okay, so this is the Chromosome palette from She Glam in Time Warp. These remind me a lot of the REM Beauty palettes, like the packaging. Look at how gorgeous. And like the packaging on these actually is quite nice, which is so surprising. This is the Velocity one. I never would have thought that a palette from Shein would feel this nice, but they really, really do. Like, it definitely feels like they did a good quality packaging, for sure, for sure. Now let's get into my Alter Ego palettes. This is the Luster Charm palette. This is a dupe for the Divine Rose 1. I don't have it, but this is a really pretty color story, really nice. Alter Ego, their palettes, like these feel like great quality, and the eyeshadows themselves are great quality, so if you are looking for dupes, I definitely recommend Alter Ego. No one is going to look at you with this palette in your eyes and say, did you use the dupe palette, did you use Divine Rose? This is the Artemis palette, which is a dupe for the Metropolis palette. This color story overwhelms me so much. I literally looked at the Metropolis palette today online, and I was like, should I get the Metropolis palette just to have it? And I was like, no. But anyways, like I said, Alter Ego has such a great quality, like for their palettes and their formula. And I am always such an avid fan of purchase the palettes that you can afford. This is the Aurora palette. Do not let any YouTuber make you feel like you have to purchase these palettes. Like this is a dupe for Natasha Denona's Sunrise palette, which is $65. Again, do not let anybody make you feel like you have to purchase these palettes and spend that kind of money, because you really, really don't. If you can't afford it, do not worry about it. Don't go into debt just to have the next hottest Natasha Denona palette. This is the Canyon palette. It's a dupe for the Bronze palette, which if you don't know, when I'm filming this, Natasha just released the mini Bronze palette, which I think I am going to pick up. Because, like, look at these. Look at these. I actually gave my brother's girlfriend, Kenyana, my midi Bronze. And she also has my midi glam palettes, because Kenyana is a beautiful woman of color, and these colors just pop so much better on her than they did on me for Natasha Denona. I was more than happy giving Kenyana a $65 palette that I know she would love and not actually go out of the way to purchase, and keeping this one for myself, because I absolutely love being able to tell you guys how amazing these Alter Ego dupes are, because it's saving you guys money in the long run. I paid all these palettes at once, and I think I paid like $120. This is the Blooms palette. It is a dupe for Natasha's Love palette. It's super duper pretty. By the way, you can always use a YouTuber's code. I recommend using when I was at Alter Ego, I used the code Porcelain, which is for Bridget Turco here. She has a smaller channel. I got 10% off. She does make a commission off of it. I messaged her and asked her before I used it to make sure, and she did say that she gets a commission off of it. I just wanted to make sure she got a commission off of it because I do support her. I think she has a fantastic channel, so I wanted to support her. So you can always message your favorite YouTubers and ask them. A lot of them do message back. I will say that a lot of them do message back. The bigger ones don't, but the smaller ones that I'll talk about in a minute do. This is the Sahara palette. It is a dupe for the Viva palette. So what I was talking about is I did an Odin's Eye order. I used code Angelica, which is for Angelica Nikovist here. What I was saying though, Angelica Nikovist, her code is Angelica with Odin's Eye. She makes a commission off of it. I didn't message her because I was pretty sure I didn't order, and then I did. Or no, I watched one of her videos and then I went and didn't order. So I knew she made a commission off of it, so I didn't feel the need to ask her. She has a smaller channel. She's not a million subscribers YouTuber. You know, she's very humble. Here is the Goddess palette. It's another dupe for Natasha Denona's gold palette. I definitely recommend Angelica Nikovist's channel for anything Natasha Denona and Odin's Eye. She's typically the one I go to for Odin's Eye. Angelica Nikovist is a Swedish YouTuber. She lives in Texas now, but she used to live in Sweden, and Odin's Eye is a Swedish brand, so I really trust Angelica's opinion over anybody else's. To mention, I'm glad that I was able to support her channel. This is the Shadow Kiss palette from Alter Ego. It is a dupe for the Midi Glam. Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. Or you can use codes like Morgan Turner or Morgan. That is Morgan Turner Makeup here on YouTube. She is one of my favorite YouTubers as well. I have messaged her and talked to her. She is so humbled and so beautiful and so gorgeous, and I love her, and she's so sweet. And she just gives out some of the best advice when it comes to luxury makeup. So if you are curious about Danessa Myricks, Natasha Denona, Pat McGrath, especially Pat McGrath, and Charlotte Tilbury, I always go to Morgan Turner first. Here is Storybook Cosmetics' palette. This is the Little Red Riding Hood palette. I found this in my makeup chest when I was going through it and doing a makeup stash video, and I decided to pull it out and use it because I was like, cute. I got it in a BoxyCharm a few years ago and I never used it. We're getting to the end here. This is the C-Color Cosmetics Savannah palette. It is a dupe for Natasha Denona Safari palette, which I don't have. I never had. It is discontinued. I do hope she brings it back because I will purchase it. Love me an all matte palette. I love this palette. C-Color Cosmetics. This is definitely an amazing palette. I 100% recommend it. If you wanted this color story, you don't have the Safari palette. 100% recommend it. And it's like, I think I paid like not even $20 for this. I think I paid $24 for both. Here is the C-Color Cosmetics Golden Palette. So the She Glam, Alter Ego, this one, all of them are great dupes. All of them. This is the Folklore Impressionism palette. This took forever to get to me. That's all I remember, is that it took forever to get to me. Like, I ordered this mid-June and it didn't get to me until like mid-July. And it's not even that good of a palette. It's meant to be an impressionism palette of the Safari palette. I definitely recommend the C-Color Savannah palette over this. Okay, next is the Pat McGrath Mothership 4 Decadence palette. This is another palette I got on sale because it's an all shimmer palette. I paid $130 for this in a kit. It came with the Intensify Eyes Eye Primer, a mascara, and I paid $130 for it. And these are $129 just by themselves regularly, so I definitely recommend getting a kit when it's on sale. I also got a poster and a journal. It was gorgeous. This is actually, I believe, a step up in quality from regular shimmers. It's really surprised me. I actually thought that this would be the first and only mothership I would declutter, but I'm not feeling that right now. Maybe I'll change in the future, but at this moment, I'm keeping all 10 motherships. Kai's up. So this is the ColourPop Wild Child palette. I definitely think that this is very comparable to that Natasha Denona Glam Face Dark palette. I haven't had much time with this, but from what I've used of it, it's an okay palette. I'll feel better to talk more about this once I use it a little bit more. And finally, at this moment in time, I will be filming an updated collection video for you guys. This is the She Glam Tenacious Taurus palette. Brandon is a Taurus, if you didn't know. We'll be doing an updated Taurus tutorial for you guys with this. Such a gorgeous palette. I love Zodiac. I can't help it. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I accomplished my goal of making room, so now I have a crap ton of room to put the 600 palettes that are coming my way this month into, which was actually the goal. Who would have thought that getting rid of this little tiny palette would allow me so much more room? Like, I was actually able to reorganize, which is great. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm going to end it here and go spend some time with this little love muffin. Hang on. I love you. I love you. Kai, you can't give a kiss to the computer, honey. Yes, Max, right there, baby. Okay, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm going to end it here, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. And I promise you, I'm going to stop doing this mom bun. I promise.